Hey everyone, this is Genesis here. I'm coming with you with another video I haven't done in a while with Dissension, and that is a, speed scripting, I would assume. So, the reason why I've done it this time is, this is usually where Dissension's at this point. I'm not making any huge new features, I'm just kind of adding in, fixing bugs, and going through with the process. Some people enjoy these videos because you can kind of see what kind of goes into making a lot of this mode. You know, it can seem like it takes forever. One, I've been really busy, of course, like always, but there's just so many little parts and things that I make sure work together well, and it's kind of like working on it feels like I'm working on 6 different projects rolled up into one because there's so many systems together here. Like right here is the marker update system, which is purely for join in progress players to update all the markers that I create on the fly. And so join in progress players will have everything that they need to be able to play the game without missing markers, having to wait hours for all the markers to refresh. So that's great. You'll probably see a lot of times where the screen won't be moving or doing anything because I was talking with people, typing in Steam, all sorts of things. So yeah, right now I'm just kind of going through, and this is always a challenge. You can kind of see I'm just kind of staring at this right now because I'm trying to figure out exactly what I need to do. It's just, when you don't look at something for a week or two and you come back to it, and that specific function there I was looking at, or that FSM I've not looked at in probably a month, so it's kind of have to remember how and why I did things and why I did them, and I'm kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm actually right here looking at the wrong function. So what I'm trying to do is make it so when the players recruit units, that these markers will update for the other players automatically, so they don't have to worry about it. But I actually was looking at the wrong function to update that in FSM, but you'll see I'll go back later and delete it and redo it really quickly. I figured it out later. So yeah, I kind of enjoy just being able to sit here and watch myself work over this while it's sped up. This in total is probably going to be a 36-minute long video. The total recording was like almost two hours maybe. I don't know. It was just 2 hours, and I was able to do quite a bit of work. You can see, I just realized, oh crap! I need to go back and fix that. But man, look at all these just different things going on. So I kind of got asked, like, hey man, where you at in this and what's going on? And one of the things I always get asked, of course, is VCOM AI about that. So I'm going to be talking just a little bit about what I plan on doing for Dissension, what I plan on doing for VCOM, and kind of what some of my plans are for after that. Some people have asked me, like, hey, you gonna get back to VCOM? I'll tell you, it's probably the number one asked question. VCOM, we'll just start there with VCOM. So VCOM is in a state right now where it's functional. I know the one on Steam I think is busted due to something. I probably packaged something wrong and then one of the updates broke it. I don't know. I really dislike the way Steam does mods for Arma, and I know it's very convenient for people, but it's a huge pain in my ass. It really is. I do not enjoy whatsoever. I'm really close to just taking it off of Steam because it just having to deal with a modded version, a script version, and then the Steam version is just a huge pain because they each, I don't know, I mean, it's really not that hard, I'll be honest, but it's just so much for me to worry about, and I don't really care about it. Within limited time already, I don't know. I'm sure I'll still keep it up there, but I am in no rush to fix the Steam version right now. People want it, they can go on to the Bohemia forums or many other websites it's posted on and go download it from there. I don't really care much about the Steam version, so just a fair warning to everyone. Yeah, but where do I plan on going to VCOM? The next thing with VCOM is going to be after I get not completely done with Dissension, but once I get a better version of Dissension out there that people are playing and enjoying, or that I'm, what comes down to is if I'm happy with it and I was able to play with it for a couple hours, no problem, and have a lot of fun, then I will post it and be like, hey, here's the first version of Dissension. Take it as what it is. It's still not fully done. There's a lot more that can be added to it, but this is where it's at. And then I'm going to take a probably month or two break from Dissension. I do little things here and there depending on what happens, and then I'll jump on VCOM again, which is my plan. my plan is to work on VCOM in terms of optimizations. I think it needs to be optimized. But so here's the tricky thing with VCOM. I think it is definitely one of the most demanding, or can be one of the demanding. I've seen some other AI mods out there. It can be very demanding on servers and things because of the way it was designed from the ground up, which is a very hard thing to change later on. And what I mean by that is VCOM acts on an individual and group level, depending on what state the current group is in. So, and I've tried to negate some of this in some ways already to optimize it. Like, for example, the leader controls a lot of the, of course, the squad leader controls a lot of the waypoint action, a lot of the more advanced, it's intelligent actions. The squad leader will do that. And then the individual AI will just focus on where they need to take cover, who they need to engage, and all that kind of stuff. But that's still an individual level per the cover system, which is, the cover system is probably one of the most demanding aspects of VCOM, is them trying to find cover, which is why I think I implemented a system where only, like, you can choose it now with VCOM, but I think the default's up to 12 groups, or 6 groups at a time can be trying to find cover or something to that effect. I can't remember. It's like 3 or 4 groups, which is still dependent on how many units are in a group. But you get the point. It's not perfect. So it's always this battle of trying to figure out how do I optimize it more. Optimization, I think, is a really actually fun part. I really do enjoy it. It can be very difficult. I think it's the most difficult thing. Getting something to work for me is pretty easy most of the time now. Don't get me wrong, like getting it to work well that's a whole different story. Getting it to work well is a whole different story. I think you need to work in multiplayer well, whole different story. I'm pretty happy with how my progress has been with understanding dedicated environments over the past year. And hold on, Windows 10 is telling me to, oh my god, I don't care, remind me later. I'm pretty happy with my progress so far. So that's pretty good. And going back to the video just for a short moment here, you can see I'm just still kind of, what I'm adding right here is when you tell your AI groups to move, it'll add a waypoint, like a visible marker on the map telling you where you told them to move. It'll be a yellow marker, and you'll see that in a bit. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think in this video I do primarily just a lot of bug fixing, which you'll see. Like, I'll just be playing and a bug will pop up on the screen, I'll stop what I'm doing, I'll tab, I'll start to fix that bug, and I'll keep commentating on that. But right now I'm just working on adding in a marker, which I make a couple mistakes on, and then when I go test it, and then I come back here and fix it. But you'll see. I'll explain that when it happens. But going back to VCOM, that's where I'm at. It's going to be kind of the optimizations, and I'm pretty happy where I've been. And so I think it's about time, with the amount I've learned from Dissension, I think it's a really good time to go back and look at VCOM once I'm happy with it. Now, I'm forcing myself to do one project at a time, because I learned that if I were to stop Dissension right now and go back to work on VCOM, I would feel really exhausted, because it's not fun for me to keep swapping between projects. And I know it can be really frustrating for people, but I do this in my spare time for fun. And you know, if people find bugs or fix things, I always, before I do, I love that. I'll be honest, I'm like, if you don't mind, I'll take it and incorporate it in the current version or whatever, because I think that's really powerful, and multiple people work on a project. It's always, sometimes I feel bad when people are like, hey, I'll help you. I'm like, well, here's this mess, because a lot of people really have really organized functions, and to me, in my mind, the way I organize them makes sense, but you know, I am not a trained programmer. I just do what makes sense to me, and that's not always the best way to do it. But yeah, so yeah, that's where I'm at, and where I'm at with Dissension right now. I'm pretty happy with where Dissension's at. It's come a long way. Yes, very slow, a lot slower than I thought it would. There's a couple bugs that I would really like to iron out before I even do anything, but I think it's really coming along. And what I need to do now is just play it for hours, and that's what I want to do, is find the time, sit there and play. You can see on the left here in the video, I'm messing with this green little square that something added. I don't know where that green square came from, but you can see it there. I'm like messing with it, like, what the hell, what does that do? Just trying to mess with it. Looks like Bohemian's been messing with updating some stuff here, which is great. And you can see now that I'm running over to the barracks to go recruit some units here. And it's running, you know, the Dissension's running pretty smooth on my machine at least. When you're hosting it, it's definitely, your frame rate gets down there pretty low, especially since I'm running on higher graphic settings. Fortunately, the script lag is really minimal. I was actually surprised at the lack of script lag. It's just, there's a lot going on in Dissension, and I need to definitely needs to be optimized more. Man, I'm pretty proud of how good it runs. Now here's a new bug I ran into since the last Arma update. You're gonna love this. So the menu works fine for almost everything else, and here I'm just testing general things. You can see the rank symbol above my head and all sorts of things. I'm just kind of testing, running around. If you look, and I'll do it in a second, I think. It's gonna be when I go back. I'm kind of testing out all the purchasing systems, making sure they'll still work. Here's one thing I found I still need to do is the crates are spawning in the dang ground, which I hate. So I need to figure out how to fix that. And I was there on the map, you couldn't see it, it's too fast, but I was making sure that I increased the amount of materials that towns and everything can have maxed from 30 to 60. Because in my playtesting, I found that the commanders would just use the materials so fast, they would not be able to even like spawn units quick enough, because even on a 5-minute timer, it's just too slow. And there, as you can see, Dissension AI controls when you're recruiting AI, like little commands. You get that by pressing M and pressing H. On the map screen, you press H. So here I go, I'm actually going to go recruit units. And this is a new bug that showed up. You see when I'm clicking on these? And I'm like, look, everything's off. All the text is off. And you can see, I'm like, what the f... So I open up the video, and I noticed there's these new options in the aspect ratio. Like stretch, non-stretch. And I was like, I've never seen it. Maybe that's been there for a while. I've not really played ARM in the past month. So I was like, oh, you gotta be shitting me. So like, depending on what the options are, like it might fuck with the way it looks. It's like, oh damn it. I have to figure out what's going on with that. So you can see here I created some AI, and I'm trying to get the waypoint thing to work, but then I just realized, oh crap, it's not working. And I figure out what happened is I named the waypoint the same thing as the marker for the group, and I was like, oh, that's a dumb. I think I have to restart one more time when I fix it, but you can kind of get the idea right from here. And I'm like, what the hell? And I figured it right there. I'm like, oh, I need to rename the waypoint. So, and here I go to reload it now to make sure it's all fixed. So yeah, so that's that. So what else do I need for Dissension? What else before I'm happy with it? Well, that's the problem at right now is I need to figure out, playing the game, what feels good, feels not. I mean, the game's already changed so much. I think someone on the forums, I apologize, I can't remember his name, it's still there. I saved his post actually in a text file within the mission, because he gave a lot of good ideas for the missions and things, how the commander can be more interactive with the players. And I've actually incorporated a lot of his ideas. There's still more I need to do in terms of the missions. Like there's the missions now where you can, the commander will ask you to pick up units to bring to a squad. The commander will ask you just to go reinforce a squad, and the commander will ask you to pick up supplies, and there's one more the commander will ask you to do something I can't remember. Sorry. But yeah, this music is just so nice and relaxing. This is what I was coding to. But yeah, it's just so nice and relaxing. So yeah, I think I just need to play it, and that's usually where I get the ideas. Usually not from me, it's from other people, which is why I love putting them on Bohemia forums or wherever, where if I can get feedback, because people are like, man, I really would love, 9 times out of 10 they're great ideas. Every once in a while you get the idea that's like, man, I would really love if you added aliens to this, and it's like, well, that's a little out of the scope, and I always feel bad. It's like, yeah, that's, I can see where that might be fun, but that's not my vision at all for this. Sorry. But most of the time they're really good ideas. Like I got rid of the side missions because people are like, hey, these really detract from the main game. And I was like, yeah, I think I can agree with that. And the side missions now directly come from the commander himself, and they're just side missions that directly impact the battle on the map, which is really cool. I like that. It's just neat. I think the biggest problem with Dissension I've had is I've run into a lot of little things, of course, which is called a feature creep. well, I don't know if it's called directly feature creep, but where I've added extra things that people said, hey, this is a great idea, and I'm like, I love it, I'm going to add it. But then there's a whole bunch of things that sound simple but aren't. So here's an example. Supply points fill up, and the players have to go pick them up and bring them to a building for the commanders and that player team to get experience and money. Sounds great. What happens though on the other team if this is a co-op game and there's no players? Oh crap, now I have to make a system where... Do I make a system where the AI will attempt to go pick them up and move them, or I can't do that because the whole reason why I moved over to the players' responsibilities is that the AI are terrible at going from point A to point B on a lot of maps. They're not reliable. It also adds to a lot of memory footprint to have AI squads running around just doing nothing, and it's just a huge pain. So it's like, okay, so I have to design a system that knows if there's no players on a side, after a certain amount of time, the crates will just despawn and the points will be given to the team. The reason why for that is to keep the enemy team competitive with a team full of players. Because I don't care what you say or do, AI will never be better than, well, okay, I shouldn't say never. It's in Arma 3 history, the AI will never be better than players. They'll never be able to outsmart players, they'll never be able to outthink them, outmaneuver, it just will not happen. A random chance that it'll happen, things like VCOM and stuff, they try their best, but you can see the impact of frame rate, depending on if you get too crazy. So it's just always this balancing act of, gotta make sure that, because I always play this part co-op with friends versus an enemy AI. I might even add in something eventually where it's like, hey, if it's a co-op game, maybe it'll be parameter. Give the empty side additional support in terms of not more units, but maybe a little bit more extra resources here and there to respond to player threats, things like that. We'll have to see. Or maybe add in smarter AI that is better at, targeting more like aggressive players and things like that. All these sorts of things are ideas I need to balance off the top of my head. Again, it's a feature creep idea, and it all just comes from when I'm playing. Like if I'm playing with my friends who are consistently rolling the enemy AI just consistently, then I'm going to design a system that will target players in particular over just other units. And then that becomes another challenge of making sure it blends in well and doesn't feel unfair to the players or ridiculous. Like the problem with players in an environment like this is that they're very dynamic. They can take a helicopter and they can fly from their point of the map to the other point of the map. Like one problem I ran into while I added the dome was I had a player who would just hop in a jet, fly to the end of the map, get shot down maybe a couple times, but then get in a jet. Eventually he would find the commander and blow him up. Game over. It was done. Which is not fun. So it's like the AI could literally not deploy enough AA to stop him. Was what they had at the time. Even if they had jets in the sky, like the AI cannot pilot well, it's just a huge mess. So what do? Well, of course you do. A couple things you can do, which I've done for situations like that. For example, is make jets very expensive, so you don't want to just throw them away. That's why the whole economy system's in there. I know some people don't like it, but it's to prevent players from just buying jet after jet after jet after jet when they're charging in. But also is to have certain things, like for each player maybe have a little monitor on them, like hey, if they're in a jet, then maybe just right away the commander responds to that threat, that possible threat, instead of waiting like it does and adhering to normal rules. If it's an empty team with no players, then maybe the AI commander will instantly purchase a jet or instantly purchase anti-air. You just never know, those kinds of things, to kind of be aware of that. And but that always comes with a consequence, So stuff like that is what I'm dealing with right now. But I just need to play the game. You can see right here, I'm probably typing to somebody for a while. But what I'm working on right here is an embark and disembark for your AI. So with Dissension AI, I kind of made my own form of high command module. I know there's some out there that look really well, but I like having my control over everything. And I'm sure there are some out there that look better and work better. But I like having the control of it. I wanted it to do what I exactly wanted to do. I wanted to work with Dissension with the minimal footprint, memory footprint, and so I know how to optimize it best. I just do not like working on other people's stuff. If it goes in there nicely and works well, great. But if it's something as complex as this, I want to be able to tweak it. A great example is I might be creating my own kind of. I think I showcased one system, or maybe I didn't upload that video, but I had this thing where it was kind of my own sort of building system. And I think I actually lost it. I did it for degeneration, and now I couldn't find it. But it was my own kind of building system, and I need to make my own now again, which really sucks. That's for sure. But because that's the next step I want to do is make my own. Because I had another one that worked really well. But the problem was it was a little too clunky, a little bit too odd to get it to work correctly, and it worked well for what the intended purpose was, but I wanted it to be on the fly kind of thing, and it just didn't work well. I need to figure out how to do the building and degeneration. I think it might be, Dissension. I think it might be, I'm not sure, it's not something I need help with. I think the players have to purchase a certain vehicle or something, or I'm not even sure. Like maybe they need to be an engineer or purchase, like they can purchase perks. Like, the player request is maybe a builder unit, and within a certain distance of a vehicle, you can build a base. Or I'm not sure. It's a whole base building mechanic. So because I want to have the players be able to construct bases. But that is kind of on the bottom end of my list right now, because I'm trying to think of what kind of gameplay does that actually add for players. Well, building your base is cool, and it could count as like a barracks. You can build your own barracks and stuff for camps, but it really doesn't add too much to gameplay besides you're able to put up a wall and the amount of griefing that can happen with that. So we know the AI are really bad. They are really bad at getting around roads with objects in them. Like the AI will just ram these. So if the player puts up a wall in the middle of a road, the AI will not path around it in a vehicle. They will just die, like they're stuck. So then I would need to devise a system where the AI can properly siege these bases. And it wouldn't be the way players would be happy with, because I can't have the AI just shoot. It would be very hard to have AI shoot at these walls. It would literally be... Oh man, I'm trying to think the best way to do it. Say even now I'm trying to just, in my mind, troubleshoot it. Let's say if I allow the players to build anywhere, then it's like, okay, so how do these structures get destroyed? And it can't just be, well, the AI will plant explosives. Try getting AI to plant explosives on anything and figuring out, without it being very cheesy, without it being very, just spammy, and I guess I could just spawn in C4 if the AI are close enough to a wall. They'll just automatically spawn in C4, but then that seems like a lot of objects to monitor, and yeah, it just sounds like a mess. So it's like, I don't know if I should allow players to build directly, or I don't know. So it's one of those things. It's on the bottom of my list right now because it sounds simple that players build bases, but But anyway, here is the AI. You can see that the waypoint there is set up correctly now. There's just one error. I have the player name. I just fucked that up, so I'm fixing that real quick. But you can see the waypoint is sticking, and they are moving towards it. And then I can move the waypoint, deletes the marker appropriately, and when they get close, it will delete it, as you'll see here, as it just did. So cool. And now I'm looking for this one command that gives me in my zoos control of all the groups, so I can see where the waypoints are. I think I'm responding to a message right now, but there we go. And as such, you can see it's moving. Now I'm going to give them a waypoint, making sure that the waypoint's being created correctly. You can see yes, it is. I'm checking to see, yep, it moves it. Check one more time, yep, it's moving. So now I think what I test is now I'm testing purely the embark and disembark, which does not work here. Because also for some, I don't know what it is. Left alt apparently teleports in some case. I don't know what that is. Is that in bottom left? I think it's if you have Zeus enabled it does that. I'm not sure. I need to figure that out. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure that out. It's just not working. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with Dissension, but I think it's getting real close. The big letdown is the same with a lot of these big projects, and I've noticed it's the same for a lot of these big CTIs that are very complex. If you're hosting, it's just your frame rate is not that great, and that sucks. And it's just directly tied to the amount of units on the map. And there's just no real way to fix that if you're the host. Because one thing you can do is, like, I could install something that if you're a client and a unit is far away from you, just stop rendering the unit, which I think happen most places even do. Like, I already have that in the game. If they're not engaged in anything, they're not fighting, then they get, not rendered, they kind of get disabled, all that kind of good stuff. But the problem is, if you're the host, like local hosting, you can't do that because then the units won't fight, like the other AI units won't fight each other properly, like in towns. So they have to be rendered for you at all times, pretty much, unless they are far away from enemies and stuff. So, yeah, it's just a huge pain. It's like, okay, how do we do that? And then you throw in mods, like throwing in RHS actually makes you lag a lot more than just vanilla, because some of their stuff is high quality. It's really nice. But from my experiences, this actually caused more lag because the units are there's a lot more to render there, and the weapons are a lot more high detailed. I think like the uniforms are better detailed and higher quality, so it just of course causes more lag. So it's just, how do I fix that? Because I'm pretty happy with, there's like not a lot of script lag going on. It's just an immense amount of frame rate lag, and the only way to really do that, reduce that for players, is to turn down the number of AI we're running around. Another thing was probably to take into account here is our VCOM to play here. VCOM does impact frame rate roughly, like with 100. What was that one test I did? Like 200 AI, 180 something AI, which this mission easily gets to. It can drop the frame rate by a whopping 10 frames a second, which is quite a bit to drop with 100 AI in battle at once. I think with vanilla AI it was like 5 frames or something with 180 AI in battle, but it's VCOM does hit it pretty hard. So optimizing VCOM if I can will also help this mission, because I work with them in tandem. So now here I changed it. Now we're testing the embark and disembark, and I think here there's still a couple bugs that I fixed immediately with it, which I will point out once I'm done typing. I'm waiting for the barracks to be created, I think, and typing to somebody. So yeah, this is a little bit more. These videos always feel weird to me because it's some people actually really enjoy me just talking about this shit, and I still find it really weird because I'm like, well, it's just, this isn't the fun part. I'm not playing the game, and like, I feel like people usually typically like let's plays and crap like that where you're just playing, and I'm just kind of fast forwarding through me, testing things, working on things, and it's just a random assortment of things that I'm working on. But you can see here that I was able to get using the commands with AI in there, and I couldn't get him to disembark though, because there was one mistake I made, and I need to make sure this gets defined down here appropriately, and I finally do that, and I do like a really quick test to make sure that works, and yep, there they go, they hop on out just like that. And then I think I had one more thing, which is they have to be close to the vehicle, because I just teleported them into that vehicle. So right now I just use a move in any command for the vehicle, because I was looking really briefly, and I'm sure there's a way to do it, but there's a move in any, but it's not an order move in any, like to tell them to get in any position, I don't think. Let me actually take a look at that right now while I'm doing this. Let me take a look at, there's the order get in command, which just tells them to get in or get out of their assigned vehicles. And it looks like you have to assign a vehicle to each unit, but it's not just you're assigned to this vehicle, you're assigned as cargo, driver, commander, and gunner. And I do not want to mess with this AI as gunner, this AI as commander, this AI as driver. I just want to get him in there, get him done with it. Maybe there's like an assigned vehicle though. Just a straight up assigned vehicle? Nope, there is not. So which is a problem. I mean, is there assigned as any maybe? No, there's not. So it's really annoying. Assign as cargo index. Yeah, there's just a lot of little problems you think wouldn't be problems with this. So we're getting close to the end of the video. I'm kind of running out of things to say, honestly, but I'm pretty with this testing. I'm pretty happy with it. And I need to update this on the GitHub, which is probably what I should do right now. It just needs more testing on a dedicated server, and which is what I'm probably will be doing when I have time tomorrow or maybe later tonight, just playing. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what I'm doing here, probably just more typing. I'm just really happy. You can see the AI are in a vehicle now. They're driving around and it's working really well. And I think I'm enabling Zeus so I can make sure to take a look at it. Different squad. Oh, here we go. This is the bug that I finally fixed. These damn vehicles get stuck. And so, like, when say if there's water they need to cross, then the squad will actually disable the simulation, and then this vehicle will spawn, and it'll pretend they're in there, like they kind of get cached, and then it goes across the water, and once it gets to the location, the vehicle despawns, and the squad gets uncached, and they get thrown back on the land. So here's a good example of I ran into a bug where that guy crashed into the land, but he's too far from his waypoint for them to disembark. And then here's another one. The vehicles are spawning, like, when they get stuck, it tries to move them closer to the waypoint, but the boats would get put on land. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. So you can see that how it works there when I place him down. You can see those units are all there. So I kind of bashed my head against this for a little while. In this video, you're gonna see like the next 5 minutes or so in the video, but I think it was a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes in real life. I was trying to figure out how to do this. What I ended up doing, which you'll see, is I take off the stuck function, so it stops seeing if they're stuck. And I added their own version of being stuck in the fragment move. And you can see here that this is from helping someone really quick. But you can see in the the fragment move, which is the function that controls the transportation through water for vehicles and AI. Vehicles get cached the same way, so it controls that. I just add it in there, and I add in a little function. And man, how long was I helping this guy for? I don't remember. It should be over soon. But yeah, it's a lot of these long-standing bugs are starting to get fixed, and I've kind of come to this is where I've come to a conclusion where I love the realism and I love things looking smooth, but I like it to work better. So for example, what I just was talking about, when you tell AI squad to embark, if they're close enough, they just get warped in. They get teleported right in there and wherever position's open. Because I don't want to have to deal with this complicated mess of the AI being able to path to the vehicle and having them get stuck, and then I have to create checks and checks and checks and checks and checks and checks for all this crap. It's like, it's just a waste, and it makes the code bloated and slow and probably really buggy, when I could just have them right now at least teleport in. Just, if you're within a certain distance of the vehicle, just teleport in. Otherwise, tell the player, hey, they're too far to go in the vehicle, and the player has to tell them to go in there once they get closer. So like this, the fragment move is, if they get stuck a certain distance and if they get stuck on something and they're stuck on it for a long time, it just considers the movement complete, and it despawns the vehicle and it moves the squad where they're supposed to be, on the shore or wherever they're supposed to be, which I know isn't ideal. I know some people may not like that, because it's like, whoa, just these units got stuck, and all of a sudden they warped 2 kilometers, and now they're on the shore that I was at, and I got killed. Well, I could probably add in like a check to make sure there's no one nearby before that happens. Wait for no AI or no enemies to be within like 100 meters or so, or more than that. But it's like, you can't always do that, and that's not always feasible because you run into all these other problems, and sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad. It's like I'm trying to find a better way to do that, because the AI just don't know how to go across these bridges or go across the water very well, or islands. Like, they just freak out. So that's where I'm at with that. And I know that's not ideal, but I can, probably add, if it really becomes that big of an issue, I can add in switches for it and be like, well, you can control that, but good luck with the buggy mess that it'll be. But, 'cause I just want to get to work. Because 9 times out of 10, you won't even notice it. You won't even run into it, won't have an issue with it. And most of the time, the boats don't even get stuck. And most of the time, they work really well. So it's like, sometimes they don't work so well because the AI don't know how to drive boats. They don't know how to back up and not ram into something. That's Bohemia's job, not mine. So, that's always an issue. Until Bohemia gets off their ass to actually make AI that notice obstacles. We'll see. You can tell I'm a little biased. I love Bohemia, love their game, but when it comes to the AI department, I don't know who they hired or what's going on over there, or if they're just so scared of it, using more frame rate. Because if they make the AI slightly smarter, maybe it'd be too much. I don't know. My guess is just laziness. I doubt they've really touched the code a lot until recently. So I would love to see them put more work into it. I would love for them to talk to me, be like, hey, what are the biggest issues you see? And I would love to talk to them. I can't even pretend that I know how hard it is to make a game, but I can definitely say, hey, there's you can improve this. I know you can. You have the ability. You have access to the engine. You can do this. You can do it in an efficient way. If I can do it with tin cans and physics objects, I think you can find a better way to do it. So, at any rate, I think that's pretty much wraps up this video here. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, post any questions or things you have. I usually prefer people posting questions on the Bohemia forums. I usually get them better on YouTube videos, but feel free to post here. I'll probably catch them. Alright, take it easy.